My name is Kailas Bhosle. In this session, we are going to study about unit number 3, that is bending stresses. So in this particular session, we are going to study about the derivation of bending stress. For this unit, we have used textbooks and reference books. So at the end of the session, the learners will be able to derive the bending stress equation. So we'll first see the neutral axis. Due to pure bending, beams sag or hog depending upon the nature of the bending moment. It can be easily observed that when beam sags, fibers in the bottom, this is the bottom side get stretched while the fibers on the top side get compressed. In other words, the material of the beam is subjected to tensile stresses in the bottom side and compressive stresses in the upper side. In case of hogging, the nature of the bending stress is exactly opposite. Tension at the top side and the compression at the bottom side. Thus, bending stress varies from compression at one edge to the tension at the another edge. Hence, somewhere in between the two edges, the bending stress should be zero. So here, bending stress should be zero. The layer of zero stress due to bending is called as neutral layer, and the trace of the neutral layer in the cross section is called as neutral axis. So these are the assumptions of the simple bending. Theory of the simple bending is developed with the following assumptions, which are reasonably acceptable. The material is homogeneous and isotropic. Modulus of elasticity is the same in tension and compression. Stresses are within the elastic limit. Plane section remains plane even after deformations. The beam is initially straight and every layer of it is free to expand or contract. The radius of curvature of the bent beam is very large compared to the depth of the beam. We'll see the bending equation. There exists a defined relationship among the applied moment, bending stresses and bending deformation. This relationship can be derived into two steps. One is relationship between bending stress and radius of curvature, and second is relationship between applied bending moment and radius of curvature. We will first see the first relationship between bending stresses and radius of curvature. Consider an elemental length AB of the beam as shown in figure. This is the beam. Elemental length is AB. Let EF be the neutral layer and CD be the bottommost layer. If GH is a layer at a distance of Y from the neutral layer EF, initially AB will be equal to EF will be equal to GH and CD. Let after bending AB, CD, EF, GH take position of A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash, E dash, F dash, G dash and H dash. Let R be the radius of curvature and theta be the angle of subtended by C dash and A dash and D dash and B dash at center of radius of curvature. Then EF will be equal to E dash F dash because EF is a neutral layer, neutral axis, so the length will not change. It will be equal to R theta. Strain in the GH will be equal to final length minus initial length upon initial length. So final length is G dash H dash minus GH upon GH, but GH will be equal to EF will be equal to R theta because it is initial length. So G dash H dash will be equal to R plus Y into theta. Strain in the GH will be equal to R plus Y theta minus R theta upon R theta, that will be equal to Y by R. Since strain in GH is due to the tensile force, strain in GH will be equal to sigma upon E, where sigma is a tensile stress and E is a modulus of elasticity. From the above equation, we can write down sigma upon E will be equal to Y by R. We have to rearrange it, and sigma upon Y will be equal to E by R. This is the first equation. Second condition, second relationship between the bending moment and the radius of curvature. Consider an elemental area. Stress on this element will be given by sigma will be equal to E by R into Y. So that is force on this element will be equal to E by R into Y into delta A. That is stress into area. So moment of resistance of this elemental force about the neutral axis will be equal to E by R into Y into delta A into Y. So that will be equal to E by R into Y square into delta A. That is, so total moment registered by the section M is given by M dash will be equal to summation of E by R into Y square into delta I will be equal to E by R into summation of Y square into delta I. From the definition of the moment of inertia about the centered axis, we know that I will be equal to summation of Y square into delta I. M dash will be equal to E by R into Y. From the equilibrium condition, we know that the M will be equal to M dash, because whatever the bending moment is there, that will be also will be equal to resisting bending moment. So M will be equal to E by R into I. M upon I will be equal to E by R. So from that we are getting the bending equation or flexural formula. M upon I will be equal to sigma upon Y will be equal to E by R, where bending moment at the section M will be equal to bending moment at the section, that is Newton into millimeter. I is moment of inertia about the centered axis, that is millimeter s to 4. Sigma will be bending stress in Newton per millimeter square. Y is the distance of the fiber from the neutral axis, that is millimeter. E is the modulus of elasticity of in Newton per millimeter square, and R is the radius of curvature of the bend section. So we'll see the moment of inertia of some section, that is for our syllabus we are going to study about the rectangular section, hollow rectangle, circular, hollow circular, I section and T section. So moment of inertia of the I section, it will be equal to BH cube by 12, that is B is the horizontal dimension, H is the vertical dimension, so BH cube by 12, horizontal dimension into cube of the vertical dimension upon 12, that is the moment of inertia of the I section. Similarly, for the circular section, I will be equal to pi by 64 d raised to 4, where d is the diameter of the circle. When we apply the load on the cantilever beam, then the top layer will be under tension, bottom layer will be under compression. So tensile bending stress will be observed at the top layer, and the compressive bending stress will be observed on the bottom side in the case of the cantilever beam. Similarly, in the simply supported beam, the top layer will be under compression and the bottom layer will be under tension. So compressive bending stresses are developed on the top layer, and the tensile bending stresses will be observed on the bottom side. So we have to show it the stress distribution of the tensile and compressive on the section.